I never imagined the day would come where I'd sit under a dying bulb, speaking into a microphone meant for mortals. And yet, here you are. Pale, brooding, stitched together with grief and stubbornness. I expected more, but perhaps that was my first mistake.
I didn't come here for expectations, especially not from a man who calls genocide duty. This isn't a battlefield you can scorch, Nolan. Here, words weigh more than punches, and yours are already crumbling under their own arrogance.
Tell him, Bruce. Do you ever tire of playing savior to a world that will always drown? You cling to Gotham like a leech desperate for meaning, refusing to accept the inevitable truth. Without power, you are little more than a flickering match in an endless storm. You speak of honor, yet you hide behind it like a shield. Every decision you make is another link in the chain that binds you to mediocrity. My world conquered stars, while you cower behind walls, whispering fairy tales about justice in a sewer. I abandoned sentiment, because sentiment softens the blade. You waste your nights chasing criminals who breed faster than you can cage them. Has it ever occurred to you that your quest for justice is nothing but an addiction to your own failure?
And you mistake abandonment for clarity. I could let Gotham rot. I could surrender to the spiral. But standing amidst decay and still choosing to fight? That is evolution. You fled your battle because deep down, you knew Earth offered a mirror you couldn't face.
You pretend persistence is nobility. It's pathology. You surround yourself with orphans and broken men because their pain feeds your illusion of purpose. You don't save Gotham, Bruce. You feed off its misery to justify your own.
And you crush those who loved you because they made you feel small. Mark didn't break because he was weak. He endured because he saw the cracks you tried to hide. The strongest man on Earth, shattered by his own son's resilience.
I raised him to be better than this cesspool. You coddle your allies into weakness, training them for a war they will lose. You aren't building protectors, you're building sacrifices. And you will outlive every one of them, surrounded by your own rotting dreams.
I never promised them safety. I promised them a chance to choose differently. You had all the strength in the universe and still chose to be a tyrant. Every punch you threw was a confession that even with power, you couldn't build anything lasting.
You misunderstand power because you fear it. True strength demands sacrifice. It demands that we sever the weak ties that drag civilizations into ruin. I did what was necessary. You do what makes you feel better. There's a difference. And history remembers men like me.
History remembers tyrants only as cautionary tales, not heroes. Your strength may scorch a few pages into stone, Nolan, but it's the unseen hands, the broken, stubborn mortals who shape the future. You were strong enough to conquer, but too weak to inspire.
You hide behind words, because you cannot win by force. Every breath you take here is a reminder that without your gadgets, without your myths, you are just another broken boy screaming into the dark. A myth that even you don't believe in anymore.
I never needed myths to survive men like you. I fought gods, demons, and nightmares, and none of them taught me as much as one night in a Gotham alley. You fear me not because of what I am, but because deep down, you know I'm willing to die for a world you abandoned.
You glorify death like a martyr selling snake oil. Your death would mean nothing, Bruce. A footnote at best. Gotham would still choke on its corruption. Humanity would still collapse under its own indulgence. Your sacrifice is vanity, masquerading as purpose.
And yet here you sit, still explaining yourself to me. If my existence is so meaningless, why waste your breath? Maybe because you see something you lost, the ability to fight without expecting gratitude, without demanding the world kneel. Maybe you miss what you destroyed.
I see only wasted potential. You could have reshaped your city into a fortress, ruled it with an iron hand, cleansed it. But no, you slither in the gutters, playing nursemaid to lunatics and rapists. Your mercy is their weapon. You misunderstand me one last time, mortal. I am not here to inspire, to be admired, or to be understood. I exist to endure, to conquer, to survive the decay you call morality. Empires remember men like me, not the bleeding hearts gasping their last in dark alleys.
And yet, in every empire, there's a story whispered between crumbling walls. The story of the tyrant who thought survival was greatness and died, forgotten, buried under the weight of the very souls he crushed. You will endure, Nolan, but only as a ghost. No one will mourn. You speak of storms as if they cleanse, Nolan, but your storms only leave ashes. I build in the rain you run from. I hammer order from chaos, while you tear it apart under the excuse of inevitability. Power without honor is just cowardice in armor. I don't need stars when I have the filth and the blood to remind me what's real. Conquering galaxies doesn't make you strong, it makes you desperate. You abandoned Earth because you couldn't control it. You call it evolution, I call it fear. In costume, mercy is not weakness. It's a choice stronger than instinct. Any brute can kill. A real leader chooses restraint when bloodlust screams louder. You call me broken, I call it mastery. You lost the right to call yourself strong when you mistook mercy for surrender.